Chapter 16, Managing Owner Relationships. Welcome to Chapter 16 of the Guide to Short-Term Rental Management. In our previous chapter, we focused on the important strategies for building your brand and acquiring new property owner clients. Once you have successfully brought owners on board, the journey does not end. In many ways, it is just beginning. Cultivating and maintaining strong, positive, and professional relationships with your property owners is paramount for long-term success, retention, and referrals. This chapter, Managing Owner Relationships, delves into the art and science of effective communication, expectation management, dispute resolution, and strategies for keeping your clients satisfied and engaged with your services. Effective communication is the bedrock of any good owner relationship, but equally important is setting communication boundaries from the outset. This is not about being unresponsive or unhelpful. Rather, it is about protecting your time, maintaining a healthy work-life balance for you and your team, ensuring that communication remains efficient and productive, and ultimately preventing burnout that can arise from feeling constantly on call for non-urgent matters. One of the first things to define are your preferred communication channels for different types of interactions. For instance, you might designate email as the primary channel for non-urgent inquiries, routine questions, or detailed discussions that require a written record. Phone calls might be reserved for more urgent matters or complex discussions where a back-and-forth conversation is more efficient. Many property management systems offer an owner portal, which can be an excellent channel for owners to access routine updates, financial statements, and booking calendars at their convenience. It can also be helpful to gently discourage the use of constant text messaging for business matters if you find it disruptive to your workflow, unless it is a pre-agreed method for very specific, quick updates. Clearly stating your business hours and expected response times is another essential boundary. Let owners know your standard office hours during which they can expect prompt replies to non-emergency inquiries. A common and reasonable expectation to set is a response within 24 business hours for such communications. It is also necessary to establish clear emergency contact procedures. This should specify how owners should report true emergencies related to their property itself, which should be distinct from the 24/7 guest emergency line your team manages for active stays. Define what constitutes an owner-side emergency that would warrant an immediate response outside of your normal business hours. You should also agree on the frequency of routine updates. While monthly financial statements are standard, you might also agree on quarterly performance review calls or ad hoc updates only when there are significant issues or successes to report regarding their property. Setting these boundaries effectively starts by clearly outlining all communication protocols within your management agreement. During the owner onboarding process, take the time to verbally reinforce these protocols and explain the rationale behind them. Then, consistent practice is key. If an owner consistently uses a non-preferred channel for non-urgent matters, gently redirect them. By consistently adhering to your stated response times and preferred channels, you train your clients on how best to communicate with your business. This requires being firm, but always professional and polite in your approach. Property owners, especially those new to the short-term rental market, can sometimes have unrealistic expectations about potential income, occupancy rates, property upkeep, or even the nature of guest behavior. Proactively and effectively managing unrealistic expectations is an important skill for maintaining a healthy and sustainable relationship with your clients. Some common unrealistic expectations you might encounter include owners believing their property will achieve guaranteed high income or near 100% occupancy year-round, irrespective of market conditions or seasonality. Some may not fully appreciate that properties, even well-maintained ones, will inevitably experience normal wear and tear or require periodic maintenance and repairs. Others might expect every single guest to be perfect and leave the property in pristine condition, or they might assume you are available 24/7 to discuss non-emergency matters at their convenience. Proactive management of these expectations is always the best approach. This begins during the owner onboarding process. Take the time to thoroughly educate owners about the realities of the short-term rental market in your specific area, including potential fluctuations due to seasonality, local events, and economic conditions. Explain the concept of normal wear and tear versus actual guest-caused damage. Be transparent about the nature of short-term rentals. That guest behavior can vary, and occupancy is not always predictable down to the last night. Using reliable data and market comparables when discussing potential revenue and occupancy projections can help set realistic financial expectations from the start. Your clear and comprehensive management agreement also plays a role here by precisely defining the scope of your services and what owners can reasonably expect in terms of property performance and your management duties. Furthermore, providing regular, transparent reporting, including detailed financial statements and key performance indicators, allows owners to see actual performance data and understand how their property is faring in the current market conditions. Sometimes, despite your best proactive efforts, unrealistic expectations may surface later in the relationship. When this occurs, reactive management requires a calm and considered approach. Begin with empathetic listening to understand the owner's concerns fully. Then, gently refer back to objective data, current market conditions, the terms of your management agreement, or previous communications where these expectations might have been discussed. Provide clear explanations and evidence to support your points. Sometimes it is a matter of gently re-educating the owner or reminding them of the realities that were discussed earlier. In rare cases, you may encounter an owner whose expectations are fundamentally incompatible with your service model or the realities of the short-term rental market in your area. In such situations, it is important to recognize when a continued partnership may not be mutually beneficial. Unfortunately, property damage can and does occur in short-term rentals, and this can sometimes lead to property damage disputes between the owner, the manager, and occasionally the guest. These disputes often arise from disagreements over what constitutes actual damage versus normal wear and tear, disputes over the cost of repairs, questions about guest responsibility versus owner responsibility for certain issues, or disagreements about the handling of guest security deposits. Prevention is always the best strategy when it comes to minimizing damage disputes. This starts with having thorough inventory and condition reports, complete with extensive photos and ideally video walkthroughs, documented at the time of onboarding a new property and meticulously checked between guest stays. Having clear guest agreements that explicitly outline guest responsibility for damages caused during their stay is also essential. You should also have clear damage protocols that are communicated to owners so they understand how damage incidents will be handled. And finally, having clear and legally compliant security deposit policies is vital. When a dispute does arise, a systematic process for handling it is essential. The first step is always thorough documentation. You need to present all available evidence, which might include the pre-stay and post-stay condition reports, photos or videos of the damage, inventory lists, any vendor invoices or quotes for repair, and records of communication with the guest regarding the damage. If the dispute involves attributing responsibility to a guest for damage they caused, you may find yourself acting as a mediator between the guest and the owner, trying to facilitate a fair resolution based on the evidence and the terms of the guest agreement. In disagreements with the owner, it's important to refer back to the terms of your management agreement, which should ideally have clauses covering how damage incidents are handled, responsibilities for repairs, and potentially the owner's obligations for normal wear and tear. Understanding the owner's short-term rental insurance policy is also key. Guide the owner on when it might be appropriate for them to make an insurance claim for significant damage. Your role here would be to provide them with necessary documentation from your records to support their claim. Throughout any dispute, strive for fairness and objectivity, making decisions based on the available evidence and the contractual terms agreed upon by all parties. If a dispute escalates significantly and cannot be resolved amicably, seeking legal advice may become necessary. A key aspect of managing owner relationships effectively and transparently is keeping owners updated with relevant key performance indicators regarding their property's performance. Key performance indicators are measurable values that demonstrate how effectively a property is achieving its key business objectives, particularly its financial and operational goals. Sharing these regularly helps manage expectations, demonstrates your value, and facilitates informed discussions about strategy. There are several important key performance indicators that are valuable to share with property owners. Core financial indicators include the gross rental revenue generated, the net operating income or net payout to the owner after all deductions, the average daily rate achieved, and the revenue per available night, which is a key metric for overall financial efficiency. Occupancy indicators are also key, including the overall occupancy rate and the total number of nights booked during a reporting period. Guest satisfaction indicators, primarily derived from average review scores, both overall scores and potentially scores for specific categories like cleanliness, communication, and check-in, provide owners with insight into how guests are experiencing their property. You might also share a summary of operational indicators, such as the number of maintenance issues reported and resolved, or a snapshot of the booking pace for future dates to give them a sense of forward momentum. The frequency and format of your key performance indicator reporting should be consistent and professional. Your regular owner statements, typically monthly, should include the key financial and occupancy indicators. Many property management systems also offer owner portals, which can provide owners with real-time or near real-time access to some of these indicators, allowing them to check in on their property's performance at their convenience. Beyond routine statements, consider scheduling periodic performance review meetings or calls with your owners, perhaps quarterly or annually. These meetings provide an opportunity to discuss the indicators in more depth, analyze market trends, review your management strategy for their property, and address any questions or concerns they may have. The benefits of proactively sharing key performance indicators with owners are significant. It demonstrates the value your management services are providing in a tangible, data-driven way. It builds trust and transparency by keeping owners fully informed. It facilitates more informed and productive discussions about their property's performance and any necessary strategic adjustments. And by providing a realistic view of performance based on actual data, it helps to manage their expectations effectively. Acquiring new property owner clients involves significant time, effort, and marketing expense. Therefore, focusing on owner retention and implementing effective upsell strategies for your existing satisfied clients is essential for the long-term stability and profitability of your property management business. The importance of owner retention cannot be overstated. It is generally far more cost-effective to retain an existing happy owner than it is to constantly find and onboard new ones. Long-term relationships with owners lead to a more stable revenue stream for your business and can also be a fantastic source of valuable referrals for new clients. Several key retention strategies contribute to keeping owners happy and loyal. The absolute foundation is providing consistent, excellent service in all aspects of your management, delivering on your promises, maintaining their properties meticulously, and achieving good financial results for them. Proactive communication and unwavering transparency are also fundamental to building trust and satisfaction. Strive to build personal relationships with your owners, always within professional boundaries, by taking the time to understand their long-term goals and preferences for their property. Actively soliciting feedback from your owners about your services and then demonstrating that you are acting on that feedback shows them that their input is valued and that you are committed to continuous improvement. Sometimes, going the extra mile with occasional small gestures or providing proactive suggestions that show you are thinking strategically about their asset can significantly strengthen the relationship. It is important to demonstrate your value continuously, not just at the beginning of the relationship when you are trying to win their business, but consistently throughout your entire partnership. Once you have a base of satisfied owners, you can also explore upsell strategies, which involve offering additional valuable services to these existing clients. For example, if an owner acquires new investment properties, your existing positive relationship makes you the natural choice to manage those as well. If your company has the capabilities, you might offer additional services, such as interior design consultations for a property refresh, managing larger renovation projects to enhance a property's appeal and rental value, providing specialized deep cleaning packages beyond routine turnovers, or even offering personalized concierge services for the owners when they choose to use their property themselves. You can also position yourself as a strategic advisor by helping them with portfolio optimization, perhaps identifying underperforming aspects of their current short-term rental or suggesting improvements that might involve engaging more of your specialized services. Part of a proactive retention strategy also involves identifying at-risk owners. By monitoring key performance indicators, communication patterns, and overall engagement, you might be able to proactively identify any signs of dissatisfaction or concern before an owner makes the decision to leave. Addressing these issues promptly and empathetically can sometimes salvage the relationship. And if an owner does decide to terminate your services, ensure a smooth and professional offboarding process. Handling their departure gracefully and helpfully can maintain a good reputation, and they might still refer other owners to you or even return as a client in the future. This concludes Chapter 16. We have explored the essential strategies for building and maintaining strong, positive relationships with your property owners. From setting clear communication boundaries and managing expectations, to handling disputes, keeping them informed with key performance indicators, and fostering loyalty for long-term retention and growth. In Chapter 17, we will look at the exciting prospect of scaling your management company.